you saw two different halves in Oregon, and I like the way we attacked it when we played at Michigan State, and I like, the last three games. The thing that I've been most proud of is the fight of each and every one of the coaches and the kids, in these games, and how they've responded to some difficult situations. With that, I'll open it up to questions.
Starting left with Chris.
Obviously, missing your corners last week didn't help. What can you guys do better to get off the field on third down?
Well, I think that you play with who you got, and it was a really good team who was ranked just like IAU is, high on third down. So there's some space plays that we just missed, and we got to find some different ways to affect the quarterback, but that's hard to do when you're down men and everything else. But it's going to be a challenge for us this week. You're playing another offense that has 13 transfers. I think Oregon's quarterback, that was his 58th career start. I think this Rourke's, I think it's his 42nd or 43rd career start. So, you got experienced guys back there pulling the trigger. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us.
Charlie?
You mentioned Gabriel and the experience. It seemed like he had a lot of success with kind of deep shots, explosive plays. What do you think was kind of lacking, especially given the injuries and stuff like that?
Well, I think that one of the things that they came into looking back on it, their game plan was to throw the ball over our head, and there was a couple times it did get over our head. But I think for the most part, we did a nice job, and Lamar and the secondary guys all did a nice job of keeping everything top down in coverage. We took away a lot of shots too, if you watch the tape. So when you just throw a lot on it, I think there was two that they got us in cover one. I thought Amir played as hard as Amir could play. I was proud of him. I was proud of his resolve and how tough he is as a corner. And we had to move Zeke outside, and I thought he held up pretty well.
Reiner?
Based on what you thought going into the season versus what it is now, has this season surprised you, disappointed you? I mean, just the way things have played out.
Say it again.
I mean, based on what you expected going into the season versus what it is now, has this season surprised you, disappointed you, based on how things have ultimately?
Well, I mean, you lose the games that you lose, you're disappointed. But when you've done it, as long as I've done it, there's seasons like this where things just happen, and I told the defense for the season even started, it's going to be a different year, it's going to be a different season, and continue to harp on trying to get our depth to come along. I think there's a couple guys that are starting to step up now, finally, that you don't have to play so many guys for so long, but it's like one of those things that it's the tough spot for the position coaches and also for myself is, when the game's on the line, you want Mason, you want KG, you want your guys in the game. And, a lot of these games we played of late, the game's been on the line for 4 quarters. So it's hard to find that spot, that sweet spot. And I thought we did a better job of it, in the second half. And then also, the last couple games, we've started making guys come out of the game, and so that we could just find that sweet spot with that. It would help us. But from what I expected before the season, you always expect to win. As a coach, you do, but you also know that anything can happen. And the thing that I always talk to the players about, losing is learning. And it always has been. Different ways you can do things. Different ways they can prepare, different ways we can prepare, and injuries are something that that crop up during the season, and that's why really I think in college football you need to be 3 deep, not 2 deep, but 3 deep, and I know that's where our success was the 2 prior years is the depth that we had. You're seeing all the guys that are starting now were backups. I mean, that's facts, and we just got to keep working our tail off to keep bringing depth in here. And it's like I said, this offense is going to be the oldest offense by age that we faced here at IU. And they hit the trial. They hit the portal just like Oregon did. So they have just as many portal receivers as what Oregon did and everything else. So it's going to be a tough challenge.
Given that Mason, KG, and Will are most likely to leave, I mean, what gives you confidence about the future of the defense, because you did talk about the depth?
Well, I think that what gives me the confidence is watching our, the position coaches, which I've told you before, I think they're the best in the country, not only in coaching their positions, but in recruiting. And, I think that, we're going to have to, attack this offseason, as hard as we can to turn some spots around and turn some spots over. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I know they're working their tails off. But I know, with all the recruits we've had in here, we've had some good recruits. I know I'm not allowed to talk about them. I do know that much. But, that gives me confidence, seeing the guys that are in here. But the thing that's crazy now is not just recruiting. It's money. So that puts a whole different twist to it.
On the left, Clayton.
How would you evaluate the ball disruption, creating turnovers, and is that something you're looking for more of going forward?
Always looking for more of that, and I think it come in bunches. We've been really close on some, plays. Like Amir was close, as you saw there on the first touchdown, and the ball came out, but they still called it a touchdown. I don't even know what a catch is anymore.
Ryan.
I know you and Lamar both in your first years on staff, but what have you kind of seen from him in the way he attacks recruiting?
I mean, he's just relentless, and they all are. They're just relentless recruiters. They're, they have their 2 phones, that they have in each meeting, and computers and everything else that they can answer questions. And that's a little bit different for me. Like in a defensive meeting, guys getting up because they got a call, and I'm used to it now. But initially, that was a change. But he's relentless on getting quality football players, quality people, and quality football players here. And the same thing with BJ, and same thing with Lou. Lou was here till 12:30 last night, talking to recruits.
And you mentioned that you were a little bit surprised by like the money part of the equation in recruiting. I guess, did you maybe overestimate how much that was involved in the college game?
I didn't even think about it. I know it's like free agency. That's real easy to say. And it's real easy for you guys to say, well, it's this, this, and this. And, until there's salary caps and everything else involved in college football, you just don't know what to believe and who's actually getting what. And it's sort of like the Wild Wild West, but I know they're getting it. So, it's both portal and, the incoming freshmen, recruiting-wise.
Tackling's been an issue throughout the year, and some of the players have talked about trying to get better angles and stuff. But how do you kind of fix that?
I don't think that it's been an issue throughout the year. I don't want to lead that off with saying that. I think that we've had some missed tackles. We've had some games where individuals missed some tackles, and I see them working, better with their angles and eyes. We've done tackling circuits the last 3 weeks, last four weeks. That's gets them more focused on their angles and everything else. But I also think there's a part to the game where there's a lot of space out there. That guy's on scholarship too, and sometimes he makes people miss. But I don't see the missed tackles as some other people see it. I think that we've done a nice job of playing hard. And that's been a trademark forever, and it'll continue to be a trademark. But just keep running the football and having good eyes and good angles, and you'll tackle better.
All right, Austin.
When you're talking about portal and NIL and recruiting, has the experience of coaching in college been what you thought it would be, and do you see this as something you want to do for the long haul?
Sure. I mean, it's like I haven't sat down and thought about the long haul. When you're 61, you just try to think about tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that I'm here. I love the players that we have. You know, I think that it's obviously a different game, but you know, it's a lot better than being in some places that are 2-7. So, you know, it's a work in progress. It's going to continue to be a work in progress until we play that last one. And I think we got just the guys for the challenge as far as coaches and players. And, you know, that's what makes me come to work every day and enjoy the job that I have.
Just a general, like, overview. I mean, how do you feel about the job of the defense, just holistically this year?
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, obviously there's things we can do better. But I think that, you know, there's things that we've improved on, you know, sudden change defense, things like that throughout the year. And I'm proud of the guys that we have. So I'm not gonna rate the defense where I think it's at or anything else. I'm just proud of the fact that they play hard. They love Michigan. They love their teammates. And they don't let each other down no matter what the situation is. We just keep answering the bell. And that's what makes you proud as a coach. That's what makes it worth it to put the work in, is when you see how these kids are. And they play hard. You know, there's you know, everybody, you know, wants to talk gloom and doom, but there's a lot of guys that are playing well. You know, those 2 tackles are playing, you know, at a high level. Well, the whole front 4 is. And you know, you're seeing improvement out of the inside linebacker play. You know, and then, you know, secondary-wise, we knew going into it that we were going to be light. And, you know, once you start getting some injuries piling up there, you can see the, you know, the lack of experience. And, you know, you're starting to play true freshmen out there and things like that, which is, haven't seen that in a while. I mean, I think the last true freshman to play was Charles Woodson. He was pretty good.
Got time for 3 more people, so Angelique.
When going back to the recruiting, the money twist, how early in a conversation with a recruit does money come up, and are they the ones bringing it up?
That would be a question for all the position coaches, really. I'm sort of like the closer. So when, you know, when they start talking money, I just say, yeah, well, we'll get to that, and I know nothing about it, you know. But let's make no mistake about it. I do know this just from listening, you know, when someone says money's not important, money's important. And it's important to all of us. I mean, it's not like you look, it's important to all of us. So, I mean, that's just where we're at, where you can have a guy who's 6th on your list and a school that has no business competing with a Big Ten school. I'm not just saying Michigan, a Big Ten school can come in and grab him because they're looking at that guy as their top guy to get. Does that make sense? Where you're saying this is our 6th guy, there's no way we can go that high, but it ends up everybody gets that high. It just keeps escalating. You know, I think it's unsustainable, you know, where we're at right now, and I don't know how long it'll last. So that's when I start thinking about, who asked me about long-term? That's where I start thinking about that.
You mentioned Oregon, Indiana, going back to the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Are the days over of developing freshmen?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that because we have, you know, the opportunity to get some really good freshmen. I know I just heard Steve talk about, you know, our opportunity scrimmages and things like that. We're still doing that. I think you're going into the unknown because it's going to go to 105 on the roster. And, you know, they're saying they're going to have this rule. They're going to say they're having this rule. And you guys have all covered the NCAA a lot longer than what I've, you know, been in it this second time around. And I know when I hear a rule, I don't believe it until I see it, except the catch rule.
All right, we're going to finish with Aaron and then Clayton.
One more in the future, the defense, given the turnover, and you mentioned recruiting and everything else, can it be a quick fix?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Clayton?
How difficult is it for Makari to come down and play every snap at nickel, and then Zeke, same thing, going out to corner? And were you impressed with what they did?
Oh, yeah, and that's what I'm saying, you know, when I said it's real easy to come to work here because of the effort they put into it. They study their tails off. It's important to them. They're great people. You know, you know, with what Zeke did and Makari doing what, you know, Makari's done it before, where Zeke, it was fairly new to him, especially this year. And just to watch him compete, that I was proud of that. I was proud for him, happy for him.